Welcome back. It's time to take you through a person of interest today. And this one, he's not just an actor. He's a storyteller who immerses himself completely in characters he portrays. Intrigue of playing a deaf and mute spy in Berlin, bringing to life the brilliance of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai in Rocket Boys, my personal favorite there. Our person of interest today this morning is Ishwak Singh. His performances have left an indelible mark on audiences and critics alike.
But there's so much more to Ishwak than what we see on the screen, what meets the eye. His journey, right from studying architecture to becoming one of the most versatile actors out there. It's a story of determination, passion, and we thought we should leave you with a little bit of TBC brightness through the rest of your day. Let's get to know his calm demeanor, his thoughtfulness, and the unique perspective that he's bringing every single day to his craft. Okay. Ishwak, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Can we ask you first, Ishwak, Berlin has been a transformative venture for you, especially with the way in which you've portrayed a deaf-mute spy. What drew you to the role and how did you prepare for such a challenging character?
So it was, no character would throw me off, but this is something when I read because there was no precedent. You read something and you're like, how would this, you get a sense of, how this is going to pan out, how I'll prepare for it, and how it's going to come out. There might even be precedents. Or, I've seen a certain actor do this part. Mostly roles to have, you always have something to fall back on, or in the sense that you know how it's done. But this was a very different film in that sense because the whole 50% of the film is in sign language, in an interrogation room. How that's going to pan out. In the script, it's all Pushkin, the Apar's character's dialogues, but he's speaking, what I'm saying. So I gather that I'm signing. Now, is that going to be on me, on him? How do I connect the dots if I want to express something? So it was challenging in that sense, but I think I found that after that initial sort of a hiccup and a sort of a thing, I realized that there's the immense potential in this because there's an opportunity to understand about the entire community. The script is amazing, the story is amazing. It's so layered. Talks about the plight of the deaf people. Talks about so many things in the society, and there's the spy world, which is always very, very exciting.
Yeah. Ishwak, I have to say the choices of projects that you have picked up has been extremely interesting, which obviously makes us wonder that writing clearly is a draw for you. But what kind of scripts are exciting you the most today?
It's like I said, it's the quality of writing. It's just there's certain writers, of course, that they have a style, or they kind of dig a little deeper. The subjects that they pick up, they dare to pick up, and the stories they dare to say. Those are the filmmakers and writers who are very exciting. But if it's someone I don't know of, then I look for the fact that it's to begin with a good piece of literature. It just needs to excite you. It's not something that I read the first 10 pages and I know what's going to unravel. It needs to be exciting. A screenplay has a certain structure, and the master writers know how to kind of shock and surprise you, excite you at every turn. That from scene to scene, you kind of feel like, as a reader, as an actor, it just kind of keeps building up right up to the climax, and it can just leaves you with a certain thought or a certain kind of a catharsis at the end of it. So it's really not a specific genre-specific thing. It could be any genre. It could be action, horror, romance, comedy. But as long as you kind of have this kind of a potent screenplay, it just kind of every time I get hooked to something which is good writing in that sense.
You've also worked, Ishwak, with actors, and actresses, in the sense that these are really the names that come up anytime anyone discusses, the great actors in the industry. Who are men and women you still want to collaborate with, you look forward to?
Oh, lots of them. I mean, these days there's really you kind of you can't find an actor who doesn't excite you, a co-actor, uh, guy or a girl. I mean, there's so much talent out there, and everyone brings their A game, come from different backgrounds. On the top of my list, can't think of uh, anyone because there are so many good ones out there. But yeah, I mean, I think I've worked with Jaideep. I really enjoyed working with him. Rajkumar, I'd like to work with. He's always very exciting and fun to watch. So he's probably one of the actors I really would love to work. I've collaborated with Manoj Bajpayee in the past, and of course, out of the gods, I'm a huge Amitabh Bachchan fan. So that's a deep desire that I want someday, I'd work with him. Uh, Again, I mean, there's so many wonderful actors. Alia, of course, is great. I've always been, a huge Priyanka fan, so I think Priyanka, Deepika, and then there's of course some senior actors like Tabu is I think great, and I'd really love to collaborate with her someday.
Interesting. You spoke about all your favorite collaborations, but Ishak, one of my favorite roles that you've done has been of portraying Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. It's been a wonderful show with some iconic figures there, and it's not just about the role and the genius of the man, but the endearing quality that you brought to it. Could you talk us through some of the challenging parts of playing somebody who's been part of such, history in India?
There was that whole thing was, I guess, an uphill task. That show itself, the fact that it just happened right after the pandemic, so I guess I
Yeah.
didn't really get the chance to think about the magnitude of it because I guess I was already in that flight and fight response. Uh, Also, Patal Lok had just released, so uh, I guess been placed on the map. But now I think when I was really in the middle of it, it was there's always there's one particular thing that holds a character that's at the core of the character. And for me, it's very important to understand that, and to get to that core took a while. Luckily, I had a lot of time. We're shooting 2 seasons together, and even to start, um, we had like good 3-4 months to prepare, and then it got pushed a little more. So it was the just this thing of getting to that core. It took a long time. Probably just when I was about to start. I mean, I figured out that normally you feel like this is a man who's from a certain region or particular era, and there's he's accomplished so much. Who is he? If you ask that question, it's very important for me to know. And for me, it wasn't about the period. It wasn't about his Jain roots. It wasn't about his Gandhian, virtues and um, the fact that he was a Gandhian educationist. He, at the heart of Dr. Sarabhai, he was a man of science, and that's how I essentially played him. Um, at the core of him, the character, he was a man of science.
Yeah.
Ishwak, can we ask you a little bit about you, though, and your own journey to stardom, as they say? Can you tell us if you've had moments where things didn't go the way they were planned and how you navigated them?
And that's the name of the game. Nothing goes as per plan. Neither your character nor what you charted out for yourself. And suddenly something comes your way, and you're like, "Wow, man, this I couldn't have expected this." Or a success of Patal Lok, Rocket Boys, or Berlin. It's just that I think there's really no point in planning. If too much of planning goes into, I guess, this kind of work, it's for me, I think uh, it's a little pointless because all you can do is you can be available, you can be ready. But there's only so much hustle you can do as an actor. You can't keep knocking on the doors. Probably it's not even right for an actor to knock on every door. Uh, Especially in a place and an age like today where uh, filmmakers are aware of you, and once you've kind of put yourself out there, it's just uh, you got to find something that centers you, that kind of keeps you grounded, keeps you have a good head over your shoulders. And for me, it's just kind of going back to my going back to the nets, as I'd like to say, when I'm not shooting, when I'm not working, which is like uh, working on the basics, working on my craft.
It does seem like, Ishwak, after speaking with you, though, that you are not just acting, so much beyond that, which begs the question on, are there any causes, issues that you feel really strongly about and that you contribute to, beyond just your star life?
I mean, lots of things, I guess. I've done street plays, I've done these socio-political plays, and you come across so many issues, and you're like, I wish I could do something about it. I wish there was there's so many things that that there was more harmony. Forget about. I mean, some of the plays or stories that have moved me immensely is the dysfunctional families. So you kind of read about that and you feel that why. And then there's always, when you sort of zoom out, it starts with a human story, and then you realize there's certain social reasons for it. And so yeah, those kind of things. I mean, I wish we were as cities, as families, we had more harmony. There was more harmony and amongst people, amongst brothers, amongst siblings, parents and kids. So that is one thing. I'm an architect, so I also have a huge thing about the urban fabric,
Oh,
and it's something where I feel very passionate about. When I was studying architecture, I wanted to be a sort of I wanted to go into urban planning. That was something I was passionate about. So I'd like the cities to be a little more organized. I'd like more planning to go into it, more infrastructure, better budgets, cleaner roads, sanitation, cleaner water. All those basic things first need to come into place. I wish, I mean, it would be so amazing if you just imagine, we all sort of get out of our homes and we get into our cars and we don't have to get stuck in a traffic jam for 2 hours. And if, it's a nice cruise, you see some wonderful buildings, you see vistas and get to your work, it would just be, everyone would be happier, and I think things would be better.
I love that. It's not too often that we, have voices here for one thing and it ends up that they're entirely...
he's a thinking actor.
So passionate about something that is so important. Urban planning is so important. Some cities in our country already have great urban planning. Chandigarh is famous for it, but he's right. We wish that all of our cities did.
Yeah.